Hey team, welcome back. So where we left things in the last video was that we were able to actually do the API call and actually load the get projects method, or the get projects action, call it from our dashboard on component did mount, and then hook up everything in a way that we actually get our list of projects in our component state. Now, I went ahead and restarted my Java server. By the way, you need to have your Spring server running, and I recommend that you go and create a couple projects. I went ahead and just created 2. Alright, and I'm just gonna show you real quick. Actually, why don't I expand this? I have test project 1 and test project 2. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and do that before we continue. Remember, make sure that your Java server is running and that you use the form right here, the one that should display errors if you try and pass it bad data, and then go ahead and create 2 projects just to make sure that everything's working, and also so you have some data to work with. Okay, so now that we have this, and even before we start working with this, I am going to talk about a concept that we haven't talked about, and that is props. Okay, and basically props, and I'm right now at the React documentation, and again, for those of you that hate when an instructor just pulls documentation, come on, just bear with me, all right? Because I just want to make sure that you guys also know where to look when you want to read up on additional things about React. Because remember, we're just learning, and I know that I sound like a broken record, but we're just learning what we need to build the project, and we're actually implementing it in the order that we need so that we can build our project. Okay, but basically a prop is this is the definition that they give it here. I'm talking about the creators of React. This function is a valid React component because it accepts a single prop, blah blah blah, which stands for property, and also the one here. Conceptually, components are like JavaScript functions, which is true. They accept arbitrary inputs called props. Okay, so I am going to close this because, to be honest, this doesn't say much, and again, I don't want to replace what I can show you with what the documentation says. I just wanted to point you to it. All right, so the way I see props is that it's a way to pass data from one parent component to a child component, and in the context of what we're going to do here, which is to start displaying our project objects, the ones that we have here, we're basically going to pass the props. We're basically going to pass props from our dashboard onto our project item, so we can then obviously display dynamically all the project objects that we have in our state. All right, but before we do that, I do want to show you an actual example of props, and then we're gonna do a more basic implementation of what props are, so you know exactly what we're doing. And then last but not least, then we're going to start working on actually getting the data from the server displayed here. Okay, so the first thing here is to go to app.js, and as you can see here, we have this route component that on path dashboard loads the dashboard component. So you can say that the route component here is the parent element of the dashboard, and you can say that the route here is the parent element of the add project. So that means that this can pass props onto the dashboard. And just to show you that this is true, and again, please have Chrome installed, and please install your React DevTools and your Redux DevTools if you haven't done so yet. To show that, to bring this topic home, when we start going on our app, right? When we start going deeper on the components that we have displayed here, When we get to the point where we go to the dashboard component, which is what we're displaying here, you can see that we have the get projects function, which is what we wired up as a prop type, right? It's a function, it's a type function, right? And then also we have history, which is what comes from React Router and is what allows us to perhaps redirect from this to another view if we wanted to, which is what allowed us to basically use the redirect here once this is successful back onto dashboard when we did the create. Okay, so again, let me just go back because this always resets, and I think this is something that they should improve, but whatever. It is what it is, right? So again, we're looking at the properties that we are getting onto our dashboard component, and again, this is what we're getting from route, right? These are standard props that routes pass on to the components that are rendered through a route. Okay, sorry for the redundant explanation, but that's exactly that's what it is, right? And then we have some other props here, which is basically the array of elements, right? And why do we get this here? Because before in the last video we actually mapped our state to our properties, right? And because of that, now we have mapped our application state to a prop called project, which is of type object, and we have it here, and that's why now we have it right here. And now just to bring that statement home, I'm just going to comment this and comment that and see what happens. Now that I did that, now that I got rid of that, this is what I dislike about this little thing, and it's a really good tool. You know, I'm not taking shots at it, but I wish it would just stay where it was, right? As you can see here, now the project props are gone, right? Because now we are not mapping what's in our state to the component's properties. And by the way, these things that we commented here, we need so that we can extract the projects array and then traverse through it and then actually display the projects. And now if we come back here, and again we have to open the whole thing. Anyway, it is what it is, folks. Now we have the project here, and again, it is a project that has an empty object because we haven't requested a single project, but it does have the projects array, which is actually, I should show you here, which is exactly what we have on the state. So basically we mapped our state to our components properties. All right, I hope that makes super sense. All right, so now we're gonna do a very basic example, and actually I don't want to make this lecture too long. So I think that I'm just going to do this one example, and then in the next one, then we're going to start actually extracting our projects list and putting that, passing that onto our component. But anyway, here, the main concept that you need to understand for this use case is that the dashboard is the parent component and that the project item is the child component. And the dashboard can pass properties onto the child. Not the other way around, okay? You cannot pass properties from the child onto the dashboard the same way that we're gonna do this right now. So just to show you how this is done, and this is a very simple example, but it's completely applicable to our use case, we're going to create a project object, okay? And it's gonna be fairly similar to the project objects that we're gonna extract out of our list. So here we're gonna give it, you know, we're just gonna give it like 3 attributes, very similar to the ones that we used in our add project form. Basically, project name, right? And then we're just gonna give it project name props, and this is just so you know that this is coming from props. Then we're gonna do project identifier, and then we're gonna call it prop, And this is just so you know that this is coming from the props, okay? From the fact that we're passing props from one parent element to a child element. And then last but not least, description, and then description from props. Perfect. Now the way to pass this prop onto our child component is to basically assign it, let's say, a name, and I'm just gonna call it project. You can call it whatever you want, and then pass it the actual prop. In this case, the prop that we're passing from our dashboard, which is the one extracting the project list. Okay, very important. The dashboard is the one extracting the project list, right, from the state to its props, and then it's going to pass those props to the project item so that the project item can display a valid project item that is coming from that is the data that now is in the dashboard's state, right? I hope that wasn't too confusing. Let's just see it in action, okay? But remember, the dashboard is the one getting the projects, okay? It's mapping the state to its props, and it's the one getting the projects, all right? So now that the dashboard has the project object, then it's gonna pass that project object onto the project item. And now with this in place, there shouldn't be any changes yet, because now we have to go to project item and extract this this prop. And I was just playing with this, but I just want to show you from scratch. Basically, we can use this structure in here and extract the project prop. Again, the project prop, very important. And if you don't believe me, give me a second. I'm just going to show you this. I think if we go here, now that we have made those, now that we made that change, let me just comment that. And I think that if we go all the way down to the project item element that it's rendered, that is obviously rendered here, we see the project object that we just passed it. And here it is, right? Just like we just typed it in our dashboard, right? Project name, prop, description, 1 to 1, right? Here, right? So right now, our project item has those props. That means that the project item can tap into project.description, project identifier, project.name. All right. And if I was to name this something else, and just to show you that this can have whatever name, as long as you pass it the right prop. And yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna extract this from the server on this lecture, because I really want for you guys to have a clear understanding of this piece here. And as you can see, we have project prop, and again, description, identifier, project name, which are the attributes of the project object that we're passing on to the prop, to the project item. Okay, I hope this makes a lot of sense, because now I'm just gonna name it project. I don't want it named project prop. And now we can come to our project item and actually extract that prop from our prop, right? And basically what's going to happen is that we're going to extract the project from this props. Okay, and now with this in place, then we can come here and say project, well, curly braces first. Okay, curly braces, project identifier, and I'm not gonna save it yet, because I do want you guys to see this. Right now it has that React thing, and I'm just gonna go back. Actually, let me it has that React thing, right, that we have here. And if I put React 1, it's gonna go back to React 1, okay? But now if I put this, the actual identifier that's coming from the props, then boom, prop, which is exactly what our project object has as an identifier. And then just for kicks, we're going to do the other ones. Okay. And you know what? I might finish this off here, but I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Let's see how this goes. But I just want you guys to really understand the whole project, the whole props thing. And now I've passed it the name here, and you can see it takes the project name from props. And then last but not least, let's pass it the description project description, and perfect, and description from props. So this is basically what a prop is in the context of what we're going to be using it for. Okay, the dashboard is the one that has the list of the projects, and then he's going to pass it to the project item, so the project item can display project by project. So basically this is a very simplistic version of what we're gonna do dynamically, so that each project item is one project object in the project list. All right, I hope this makes a lot of sense. And I know I said that I didn't want to do this here, but actually I changed my mind. Why don't we just complete this in this lecture, so that you guys can see how to do this. And actually we can leave this here just the way it is, because we're using the same attributes. We are using the same attributes that our project objects have in the state, right? Project name, project identifier, description, okay, and the start date and the end date. We're not displaying these here. I probably should, but that's not really important right now. So don't worry about it for now. So we're gonna leave this here, and this should work the way it is. Okay. So now, in order for us to display all of our project items, we need to traverse through the list that we're getting from the state, and then we need to pass each individual prop to the project item. Okay, so here, this is how we're gonna do this, and we're just gonna get rid of this because we don't need this anymore. Okay, and the first thing that we're going to do is we need to extract the projects list onto our component. So basically we need to get the projects so that we can actually have access to this. And since we already mapped our state to props, then we can literally get this from our props. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is destructuring again. And if you're not familiar with destructuring, this is ES6 specific syntax. So basically it'll be like doing this. Projects. It'll be like doing this. This dot props dot project dot projects. Okay, and again back to our state. This of the dot prop project dot projects. Okay, this is basically what we are doing when we do just this, which is obviously a tad bit simpler. All right, so basically we're getting our projects list, and then what we're going to do is I also want to get rid of this, is that I want to use the map function, the map, M-A-P as in Peter, the map function. And again, this is JavaScript, like, you know, this is nothing directly related with React. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it projects, right? Because we know that it's a list. It's this list that we're getting here. Projects.map. And then what we're going to extract is a project. Okay, we're going to use an arrow function here. And then we're going to open a parenthesis here. And then we're going to put the project item here, right in the middle. Okay, so make sure that you have this syntax to a T, right? Curly braces, parenthesis after the map function, and then project arrow function, and then another parenthesis, and then the project item is going to be here. And then since we're using map, And very similar to the map that we used to display the errors in our Java server, in our Spring server, we need a key and we need a value, right? So we need to pass it a key, and we can use as the key the project ID. So we can say project.id. And again, where am I getting this from? Don't worry, it's because we are missing this here. Project, each element each element in the list has the attribute ID, which is the ID from the database. And then obviously we're gonna pass it the project object that we're extracting from the list. Okay, with this in place, now what we need to do is literally come to our project item and do absolutely nothing, because now our project item is going to extract each of these project elements, and then we can go keep this right here and just extract the identifier, extract the project name, extract the description. And just so you know that I am not bluffing, here it is. We have our project state that has projects, and these are the projects that are coming from the database. And again, sometimes I'm a slave of like showing everything and making sure that everything is perfect, because I really want this to be a good course for you folks. I really do. So basically, we have all this in the database, right? And this is exactly what's in a state. And now we extracted it from our state. And I just want to close this for now. And we have our projects. And now if we create a third project, test project 3, prop 3, prop, then it refreshes, and this completes our get projects use case. This was a lot of fun. I hope that you understand everything, and that you understand props a little better. Again, I explained props in the context of what we need, right? If you have questions, let me know. If for some reason this is not working for you, just make sure that you go to the rewatch this lecture, pay close attention to what I'm doing here. If you're still having errors, as always, go back to the branch in this specific lecture and retrace your steps, see all the code changes that I performed, and I promise you that if it's a problem with the code, you're gonna find your own solution in no time. All right, great being back here. It's been a few hours since I recorded any video, so I'm really happy that we're able to get this going. All right, guys, thank you very much. See you in the next one.